Today we're going to be talking about how you can prepare for your first tackle football season. We're first going to start out talking about gear like pads and helmets that you should be getting, or at least what I recommend. Then we're going to talk about some general tips for your first season, and then get into some drills that you could do to maybe prepare for like contact, prepare for getting tackled, and getting over kind of that fear of contact in a sense, okay? So let's talk about pads and helmet first. So I would say generally, like every single football team, like I don't care what age you play at, probably provides equipment. So if you don't have the finances or the means to be able to pay for some of the equipment that is insanely expensive nowadays, that's totally fine. It's not the end of the world. Pads and helmet doesn't make a great football player. It can make things easier. It can help definitely with safety, but at the end of the day, if you don't have the means to pay for it, it's not the end of the world. Don't worry about it. But I do recommend getting your own if you can afford it. So as far as helmets go, I would say the best one is probably a Rydell SpeedFlex. I know that's pricey. I totally understand, but that's probably the best one that I would recommend from a safety perspective, but also a comfort perspective. Now for shoulder pads, for skill position guys, I would probably recommend this pad brand called 2-in-1. Just the number 2 IN1 shoulder pads. It's like you put on like a vest and then you put like a plate over the vest. So it's like 2 pieces of equipment, but guys, like crazy range of motion, like DBs, receivers, quarterbacks, probably the best pads that you could have. But if you're not that position, I recommend anything by Zenith. Zenith is a great pad brand and probably one of the more affordable pad brands that are out there, because that 2-in-1 can be a little bit pricey. There's 2 versions of it. You have a carbon fiber one and a polyester one. The polyester one is best because obviously a lot cheaper, okay? So that's what I would say as far as equipment goes. If you guys have any questions on equipment, feel free to post it in the comments below. I would be happy to get back to you. But now let's get into some drills and tips that you could focus on. Now, if it's your first season of tackle football, guys, and maybe you're an 8th grader or a freshman, and you're a little anxious about, you know, taking hits, worried about taking hits, something that can help you take hits is putting on size in the off season. So a great way to put on size is protein consumption. If you're lifting in the gym, there's only so much bigger you could get if your diet is not up to standards. So you want to try to consume about 1 gram of protein per pound of desired body weight. So if you're like 140 pounds, you're nervous about playing high school football, I would try to get to 150, 155. I think that's doable. I would try to consume 150 to 155 grams of protein daily. Tough to do though without some type of protein powder, which is what I'm talking to you about right now. I developed a company with my brother called AG Labs, and we developed a line of supplements specifically for athletes, specifically for teenagers, to help you guys put on size and help with overall performance. So this is our cinnamon snickerdoodle whey protein powder, which can easily help you guys get that daily protein intake goal. We also have a cookies and cream flavor, chocolate peanut butter brownie, and salted caramel frappuccino. So guys, if you would like to get this protein, check out that very first link in the description below. If you use the promo code FIRST25, FIRST25 at checkout, you will get 25% off your protein order. Talk about some tips to help you guys get ready for your first season, and then we'll get into some great drills, okay? So as far as tips go, like if you're apprehensive about playing your first season of tackle, maybe you're worried about contact, you're worried about getting used to the helmet and the pads is gonna slow me down, guys, the best way to get over that fear is train with the helmet and pads on. You don't even need to get the most expensive top of the line gear, but like guys, like let's say what month is it right now? It's November, almost December, it's almost the first month of the year, and you don't start like tackle football until like what, July, August, when you put the pads on. So imagine if you trained January, February, March, April, May, June, 6 months of training with pads and a helmet on. You're gonna get used to it. It takes reps. Anytime that you're trying to get used to something new, anytime you're trying something new, it takes repetition, you guys. So I highly recommend doing any type of training in the off season with pads, helmet, maybe even the practice pants and full gear, just so you get comfortable, because when you're comfortable, you will be better able to perform in that type of environment. So now we're gonna get into some drills that maybe you could even do to help you with that contact if you have that pads and helmet on. All right, let's talk about some drills, you guys. So we're gonna start out with quarterbacks, and then we'll get into receivers and other contact positions, okay? So for quarterbacks, I recommend just throwing generally like a route tree. So you get a receiver, you go, you know, hitches, slants, outs, deep posts, comebacks, etc. Throw a route tree and have another guy with you. It could be your brother, it could be your dad, it could be another teammate, whatever it is. You don't even necessarily need a receiver out there. You could set up a net and just go through your normal drops, go through your normal footwork, and just have them hit you with some type of blocking pad, a pillow. Sometimes what I'll do is I'll get a couple pool noodles and I'll hit my quarterbacks as well, just so you get used to throwing with some contact. Because as quarterbacks, you're not taking a lot of contact anyways, maybe if you run the ball a lot, but it's usually getting used to throwing while getting hit. That's the apprehensive. A lot of guys will like bail out because they're afraid of it. The quicker you get used to that, the better, and that's something super easy that you can do. Now, let's talk about receivers. So receivers, I recommend the same thing. You need a quarterback to throw you some passes. You're obviously in the gear, and I recommend having a partner stand over the middle and you just catch your normal route tree. Same thing, you're working a route tree. We run slants. Have somebody catch, as soon as you catch the ball, give you some contact. They're not trying to kill you. You're just getting used to catching with that contact. So those are the 2 toughest things to get used to. Now, if you're a defensive player, like I would say like offensive player, like offensive line, like you could work simple, just like I guess bag drills. But if you're a defensive player, I highly recommend getting one of those like tackling like dummies in a sense, where it's just like that big red like cylinder looking thing, and just work on tackling form and work on getting used to wrapping up and making some type of contact. It's tough to work on that type of stuff as a defensive player because you don't want to injure yourself or injure somebody else. So you can't really practice with like other people in the off season, especially early on. But getting some type of tackling dummy to work on your form, to work on form tackling, to work on everything about the defensive side of the ball that I'm not necessarily an expert in, but I know that that's going to help you out. So if you can focus on those drills, trust me, you guys, you'll be much better prepared for your first year of tackle.